it was just addictive. You wanted more of it.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to sew. I want to learn how to, craft armor. We all love getting into cosplay, but how many of us like truly love just the art of knowing how to sew, the art of learning how to foam smith? Cosplay has allowed me to make a lot of friends, be part of a great creative community, but it's also inspired me to get into other things, other hobbies. So it's been amazing.
Talking with you about this in this way kind of made me think, some of the reasons that I got into this community in the first place was to highlight all the amazingness and the awesomeness genuinely. And then when I was welcomed into this community, that belonging that you talked about, it wasn't until this where I was like, man, I really feel like I belong here. I was thinking and I was like, man, I think there is a lot of us out there. And I say we loosely and lightly, but have lost our way that this is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be an escapism. This is supposed to be something that we can uplift each other with and communicate with each other with and for, and be by each other's side and appreciate one another, support one another, and be here because we all love these geeky things, these nerdy things. With everything you were saying and the way that you were saying it, I felt the passion there, and it made me think like, I think these last couple years, the community has lost its way. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Side Projekt Podcast. Yes! Let's take a sip from our Run It Up mugs. Yes. Delicious. If you want to taste some of that deliciousness, you can get these mugs, the Run It Up mugs, the Projekt Things mugs, the Projekt Park mugs, and all the merch that you see me rocking here, the sweaters, the hoodies, the tees, the shorts, and everything else, which you never really see the bottom half. You never really see my bottom half. You can get those on the Side Projekt merch store on sideprojectpodcast.com. Remember, that's Projekt with a K, where we also got the hats, a couple different kind of hats, actually, too. We got the dad hats, I think is what they call them, but I think I call them the Chario hats, actually. I think they're labeled as the Chario hats. Which we haven't seen Chario for a while. He's been on vacation. He'll be coming back soon. We also got the fitted, the snapback hats and all kinds of different stuff up there. And backpacks are up there. And oh man, what else is up there? I don't know, man. Chario handles all the merch. I constantly forget what's up there. I can't keep track. I got too many things going on. But if you want to get some Side Projekt merch, that's the best way to support the show. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Oh, we got leather jackets up there. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, they're leather jackets, so they're a little up there in the price compared to everything else, but it's worth it. I promise. It's great quality and they're absolutely awesome. And the bomber jackets are up there too. Not that anybody, I don't know, some people may want to get jackets. It is going to be coming up to hotter weather soon, and some places are already hotter weather, so you never really know. I think we got beanies up there too. I'm not sure. And tanks though, for sure. The tanks are absolutely awesome. Get your Side Projekt merch available on Side Projekt merch store via sideprojectpodcast.com. Real quick, before we get into this week's guest, I try not to mix in. I kind of mix in my personal life here and there on the show, but not really. It's usually always about the guests and everything that I have on. But and I try not to mix, sad stuff on the show, because this is an escape from reality, right? This show has always been, a little bit more comedic and things like that, and then just a good time and a fun time and an escape from reality. But I just wanted to say, so that way you guys see it coming from me, I just wanted to thank everybody for reaching out to me about the situation that's happening with my family and everything right now. It literally means the world. And I know that I said that I wasn't sure if I was going to keep things going and everything, but obviously you're watching this right now, so I'm keeping it going because like I said, this show is an escape, right? So in dark times, it helps to sometimes take a moment and gather yourself, but it also helps to have something to escape from, right? To have something be that escapism. So this has always been that for me. I think in the 4 or 5 years that I've been doing this, I don't remember what it is, I've only taken a break like once. You know what I mean? I only took a break like one time for like a month or something. You know what I mean? Where I was going through something and I really needed to collect my thoughts. But this gives me distractions as well, and we all need those healthy distractions. So I just wanted to say thank you guys, and I'm gonna try to keep everything going accordingly. But anyway, my guest this week is a Creative Cosplays magazine published cosplayer, not only on the inside, but even having made the cover for the number 19 mid-season issue for Halloween of last year. Because my guest this week has standout cosplays ranging from the DC universe, such as, but not limited to, Green Lantern's Jessica Cruz, Dark Mary Marvel, or even Wonder Woman. From the Marvel universe with her Silk, her Spider-Woman, Miss Marvel, and more. Even branching out of comics into something like her Yellow Ranger, her Jennifer Tilly's Tiffany Valentine of the Child's Play series, or even gaming with her Morrigan cosplay. She's been a guest at so many different conventions, a previous Cosplay of the Week here on the show, and is currently a voiceover student as well, or voice acting student might be the better verbiage, and she has the height of that of a giraffe. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and give a warm welcome to Amazon Daniela.
Hello.
It's good to have you here.
It's great to finally be here as a fan of the show.
Thank you.
It's very interesting to be on this side of things. Very interesting.
See the inner workings behind the scenes that only the guests that have been, only the cosplayers that have been guests on the show see how it works without all the theatrics of editing. I'm super stoked to finally have you here. You've been a Cosplay of the Week for a decent amount of time now, for quite a long time actually. I think was it last year that I featured, or was it this year?
It was last year.
It was 2024, definitely.
It was 2024,
and
I was the first cosplayer of the week of 2024.
Oh, damn.
I pinned your post all year and never left for the entire year.
Yeah.
I was like, me? I'm gonna keep this up here.
Well, I'm stoked to finally have you here to get to check this off the list of having you as a guest. And the next check is going to have to be finally shooting you, doing some videography, because I don't know why we haven't done that. Like,
listen,
scheduling and timing, I guess, because we had multiple chances to do it and we didn't finalize it.
Your back was going through it at Dragon Con.
That was the worst, man. That was the absolute worst. That put a strain on a lot of things. There was a lot of people that I didn't get to shoot and time that didn't get to work out. And then fight scenes take up a lot. And I shot a lot of fight scenes and that takes up a lot of time. I remember there was one time I was waiting for you were changing. I think you did a DC shoot at Dragon Con. Weren't you a part of a DC shoot?
I might have been. I think I was.
Yeah.
I was. Okay, yeah.
And then I think you left the DC shoot to change. And then I had just finished doing a fight scene and I had another fight scene scheduled. And I think this was the time frame. And I was like, I have like 30 minutes or something in between these fight scenes to come back. And I think I was going to try to shoot you and Shoujo and Tina. And I think all of you went to change or something. And then it didn't work. I had to go shoot another fight scene. I think it was Bat Mateo. I think it was a Mortal Kombat fight scenes I went to shoot. And then we didn't get to do it.
Honestly, I saw that Mateo Mortal Kombat scene. Well worth not shooting. That was an amazing thing.
Thank you.
It was a great quality. But yeah, so that was, as you know, my first Dragon Con, and it was overwhelming in the best way possible. But you definitely do not have time for anything unless it is pre-scheduled. Yeah. And even then you're fighting for your life. So our time will come.
Yeah.
We will see each other for sure this year. Yeah. And I think we'll make some great content then.
Yeah, 100%. I got some things that I want to talk to you about with your cosplays. You ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
One of, in my opinion, your most standout cosplays to me is your Hallow's Eve. This cosplay was featured on the cover of the 2024 Halloween issue of Creative Cosplays magazine in a shot by E. Wide and an edit by Wenz. Absolutely amazing. And Hallow's Eve is a character that you don't see that often. One that I actually didn't even know too much about until I saw you cosplay the character. And then I had to do even more research. And if there's anybody out there that's just like me that may not know enough about the character, may have just seen it, or may have not even ever seen it before, I want to give a little bit of a summary about how awesome she is and kind of who she is before I get into my question. So that way maybe we can all be like a little bit more invested together. So Elizabeth Tyne was born into an abusive household. As she grew older, she snapped. She ended up unaliving her father. I hate that we have to use that terminology, but we do. Out of self-defense, she went into hiding, took up the name Janine Godby, later meeting Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, and then falling in love. And then during the events of Spider-Man Beyond, she was transferred to the Beyond Corporation, where after a few different scenarios. Check out the comic for more details. She was transformed into the character known as Hallow's Eve, and she was given the powers of cursing, flight, intangibility, invisibility, projectile wrapping, superhuman strength, durability, speed, and agility, and endowed with magic where she can create masks with different powers and effects. And the mask thing is super interesting. Like, seriously, everybody go check it out. I mean, maybe I'll mention it later as well if we have time, but the things that she can do and or become with the masks is really crazy. And I do believe, and maybe I'm incorrect, but I think this character is a bit lesser known than a lot of other characters out there, especially like Spider-Man, existing characters. And here you are cosplaying as the character. What drew you into Hallow's Eve, and how did you find out about the character?
One, I'll start by saying I really enjoy doing characters that a lot of people don't know of. So
yeah, same.
I have to do research on them as well. But Hallow's Eve, honestly, and it's so funny because Poison, she had a story very similar to my story with Hallow's Eve, where I went to Walmart to the toy store, to the toy aisle.
With her drowned. Drowned, yeah.
Yeah,
that
character. And so I was at Walmart, and I went to the toy aisle. And I kept seeing this character. And every time I passed by that aisle, she stood out to me. I was like, that's interesting. She's got a very interesting look. So I kind of did some research on her. And I was like, really like her. I like her story. I like her powers. I like her suit. I like that she's part of the Marvel Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And I actually thought at first glance she was some sort of like female hobgoblin or something.
Yes,
because
that's what I thought.
Are so similar. And when I finally got into the store, I was like, oh, this is nowhere near that.
Yeah.
And I decided to cosplay her as Halloween was coming up in the year. And so I said, this would be the perfect time to debut her. And so I looked around for the suit. And then I, got some face paint going.
Yeah.
And got with one of my favorite photographers, which is Eric at EY.
Yeah.
And I was like, boom, let's do it. Let's go ahead and do it. This is going to be it.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like, it's such a standout cosplay to me. You rock the hell out of it. The makeup is on point. The suit, Web Warriors Workshop is amazing. All the photos that EY did are just phenomenal with just perfect locations. I mean, the whole combination is just complimentary. And for a character that has recently intrigued me even more, like, I can think of so many cool edits that you could do with the character, and some with like other people as well, maybe Spider-Man, or even solo edits, because the thing with the masks is super interesting. And I do want to list some of them off. Like, she can create a mask to curse, a mask to bleed, a mask to splinter bone, and anybody can go, Google more about it so you can get the, that's my camera out of focus. You Google a little bit more about it so you can get, more in-depth information about what each mask actually does. I'm not going to list all of it, but a mask of Frankenstein's monster turns her into Frankenstein's monster, an insect mask inspired by the human fly, a mask that turns her into a werewolf, a ghost mask, and then a black cat mask, which is pretty self-explanatory. And there's so many more. And like, that mask scenario was definitely incorporated into the edit that you did with Wins for the Creative Cosplays magazine cover. Even having Thanos in your right hand is a great touch as well. I noticed something real quick. You only posted that edit for the cover, right? You didn't post that like on Instagram anywhere else. Like, it's just for the cover. Was it created specifically for the cover, or did you already have that edit in mind?
So I have the edit in mind because one thing I like to do when I partner up with, the artistic editors in our community is I like to bring cover art to life.
Yeah.
And so that was the cover art that I saw. And I said, okay, this will be great. And then again, around that time, Creative Cosplay Magazine, which shout out to them.
Yeah.
They had their opening for their Halloween issue. And I said, this would be perfect for that. I'm just going to submit it. We'll see what happens with it. And then they ended up reaching out and said, and made the cover. And I was like,
nice.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Shout out to Kyle, a previous guest on the show as well, and somebody that I have a great working relationship with. The cover is amazing. The edit is amazing. You've got Thanos there. You're holding a Spidey mask. I believe I can't see. I got to zoom up, and I can't zoom up in the way that I have this. It's either Deadpool right there, or is that another Spidey up there? I don't know if you have it in front of you as well. And then you got a Moon Knight in the background too. I mean, there's all kinds of like little. I think that's a Vit. No, who is that? Is that a scroll or maybe Vision? I can't see. Tyre is here as well, Paper Moon Cosplay, but she's off camera and she's not mic'd up either. Can you see what that is?
Looks like a scroll.
Is it a scroll?
I was gonna say I have the magazine actually in my living room, but I can't remember what's all on.
Yeah, I can't. If I could zoom up, but the way that I have this, if I zoom up, it's going to mess up my notes. So I don't want to zoom up. But it looks, it's amazing. And shout out to Wins for the edit. Shout out to EY and all the other photos you did, like the one with the purple smoke and everything. Was that was that in edit, or did you guys have like those little smoke sticks?
No, we had a smoke stick. I'm going to credit Eric on that one.
Nice.
He works really well with smoke, and we talked about incorporating smoke for this shoot. I thought that the juxtaposition between the purple and the orange of her suit would work really well.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. One thing I like about Eric's style of shooting is it's very natural, but he captures the light so well.
Yeah.
And he does amazing work. So shout out to him as well. But yeah, that smoke is very hard to work with. Once it gets in your eyes, it's hard.
And you're wearing makeup too. So if it starts making your eyes water or anything, it's going to mess up the makeup.
You can't do that. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, that's rough. Are you going to shoot any more Hallows Eve stuff? Or are you kind of just keeping it as a Halloween thing, or just, it's a one and done? Like, is there a future for Hallows Eve?
There is a future for Hallows Eve. There is one particular version of her that I really like when she puts on a specific mask on, but I'm going to keep that one a secret. But I really like the design, and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to bring that out.
Yeah, that's cool as hell. You have other cosplays existing, not only like within the Marvel universe, but within the Spider-Verse, if you will, with your Silk alongside your Spider-Woman. Which of those speak to you more? We know that you dig Hallows Eve and everything, but when it comes to more like the actual spiders and whatnot, like which do you dig suiting up as a little more than the other, if so? And I mean, it could be reasons for like, maybe character purposes specifically, or maybe even like the suits themselves, because sometimes certain suits you wear or outfits you wear, feel better than others, for whatever reasons that may be as well, how they fit on you, or like how you feel when you rock the character, like maybe embodying the character, like Silk or Spider-Woman, and why? Where do you lean?
I would lean more towards Silk. That suit, I mean, with the half-covered face, it just makes you feel really empowered and kind of mysterious. But I also really like her character and her background.
Yeah.
I love that she was bit by the same spider as Peter Parker. It's almost like as Peter Parker's story was developing, another story was developing at the same time, but nobody really knows about it unless you come across the character.
I really like the mask specifically. How does that work? Is it connected all the way down to your neck?
Yeah, so the mask is already attached to the suit, and it's just like a really long turtleneck.
Oh, okay. It looks so good, and it just pops in pictures as well. Like I like the one like where it's where your foot is closer up to the camera, and you're like on the railing and everything. I forgot to write it down in my notes. I'm so sorry, but these are by EY as well, right?
Those are by EY as well.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so.
Yes.
Yeah. These are phenomenal.
And those were done by, as a photographer, you can probably correct me here because I have no idea, but I think he called it a fisheye lens.
Fisheye lens, yeah.
Fisheye lens, there we go.
Yeah.
So we were on a bridge out here in Dallas, and he wanted to kind of take a few shots with that particular lens because it would look so cool. And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, these are high quality shots too. Like the one where with one arm up and the elbow bent, like that is such a good shot as well. So shout out to him. Like on a photography standpoint, the one with you jumping, did you really jump? Did he capture it in the moment, or were you standing like on a box or something? And then edited it out?
Those are real jumps. You can tell by the goofy faces that I'm making.
I was gonna mention the face looks like an actual jump.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
There are some shots of me jumping that will never see the light of day. It's just wild.
You got to post them as behind the scenes, just to your story. You know what I mean?
I'll post it to close friends, and y'all can make fun of me that
exactly.
way.
And then the Spider-Woman shots too, as well. Again, shout out to EY, just phenomenal shots. I mean, you as the character pops. That's one of my personal favorites as well. Is your Spider-Woman. And one of the specific shots, man, like you and EY make a great team. This shot with the elevator, where you're standing between the elevator doors and you got the elevator sign with the level 5 there and the light up top. What are those big lights called? Are they called, oh man, what is it? You can talk. You don't have to be quiet. She's like, Tiger's trying to mouth it. She's not mic'd up, so you can't hear her. What? Fluorescent? Is it fluorescent lights? Those big long ones, like the tube?
Yeah, those big long ones. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fluorescent light. I couldn't think of it. With the big fluorescent light on the top, and it's like illuminating you, but it's like a bluish, greenish, tealish color, and then the background of the bricks is like an orange peach color, and it's like it complements everything so well. And then you standing in the middle of the doors, so it's like offset with the color of your suit, the color of the background, but you're behind the elevator doors. This is one of my favorite shots ever of all of your cosplays. It's the cosplay, it's the shot, it's the location. It's just beautiful. Everything about it. Like, shout out to E-Wide, man. If I'm ever in Texas, I would love to work with him. Just phenomenal. And are you a big Spider-Man fan in general? Like, or, you know, I guess Spider-Verse. It doesn't have to technically be Spider-Man himself, but because you have a decent amount of cosplays that exist in Spider-Man's world, or is it just kind of like how the chips fell when you started cosplaying and stuff? Are you a big fan?
It's honestly how the chips fell. Again, I like to kind of naturally run into characters
Nice.
that I cosplay. And I allow myself to get immersed in their story.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, you know, the first thing that will capture my eye is their suit. They'll be like, you know, that's a cool suit. Let me check out this character.
Yeah.
Obviously, I knew Spider-Man kind of growing up, the Amazing Spider-Man, you know, cartoon. And, you know, me and my brother will watch. And you never really saw female characters growing up. So as I got older and I came across more and more female characters, I said, I'm going to check these out because they need more love. And again, that's one of the reasons why I do cosplay, is to bring those not so commonly known characters a little bit to the front of the line.
Yeah, no, I dig that. Yeah, as somebody who try to do that with my own as well, whether it be if they're not even so much lesser known, it's maybe just lesser cosplayed, lesser prominent in the community.
Right.
I try to do that too. And I know a few others as well that I've had on the show. Some of them actually kind of recently. A lot of them have been doing that Poison with her Drowned, you know, which she's bringing back. If nobody saw that episode, that was the last episode before this, go check it out. It's really cool. And then, you know, the Ancient God has his Red Hood Who Laughs, which is actually, it's not, I mean, it's a character you don't see because it's an original idea actually, based off of the Batman Who Laughs universe, the dark, same thing that Poison did with the Drowned, same universe with that, which actually was a previous Cosplay of the Weekend guest Joey Red Hood idea originally that the Ancient God took. And there's a couple others that have been recent guests on the show not too long ago that all kind of have that in common, where they're like, you know, if it's not characters that are you know, lesser known, it's characters that are lesser prominent, you know, and I want to bring those to life. I want to do that more. Team Awesome is another one with his Static Shock. You don't see too many Static Shocks, and he's one that's like, I want to do Static Shock so much more, you know, and I just think that's always cool, and I dig that too. I try to keep in that realm as well. If you had to choose, this is usually a shotgun question on occasion, but if you had to choose, who's your ultimate Spidey in film? Tobey, Andrew, or Tom?
Ah, man. Okay, so I really love Andrew.
Nice. Yeah. Tyler just went like this. She was like, yes.
Yes. I love Andrew Garfield. I just love him as a person, as an actor, as a Spider-Man. I really love his version. You know, everybody knows Tobey, and we all grew up with Tobey. And Tobey holds a lot of love and memories, especially because I used to see my brother, you know, whipping with his little gloves
I used
and
to
stuff.
Do the same.
You know, and I used to be like, what do I get? But I don't know. I just really like the vulnerability of Andrew's character. I think, and it's so funny because every time the Gwen scene comes up and I'm watching it, I get teary-eyed every time. And I think that's what good acting is. It's not always supposed to be happy. It's supposed to evoke all of the emotions. Yeah. So, you know, the acting, the scene, all of it, it's a work of art, whether people like it or not. But I am an Andrew fan for sure. And of course, you know, there will be more Spider-Mans to come.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you too. I think Andrew takes the cake for me. You know, I'm going to say something super controversial that a lot of people are probably going to hate. But at the end of the day, I feel like if you really sat down and thought about it and compared, you might feel the same way. Tobey, awesome, classic, right? One of the first in film that took it to a different level. I don't have like anything really bad to say about maybe him, but I think if you compare it to Andrew, if you compare it to Tom, I think the writing is cheesier. And that's just me. I know there's going to be some people out there that are like, what? Flipping over tables and shit. But like, I don't know. That's just the way I feel. And then I feel like Andrew had a lot more realistic emotion. with Gwen dying, and then the way that he portrayed Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And then I guess some could argue too with like Tom. Tom did have a lot of emotion. The dynamic between him and Tony Stark, that was an amazing dynamic. With him, crying and losing Tony and this and that. Like it. And then when Thanos snapped everybody and Tom was, Peter was going away, and he was like, I forgot exactly what he said. It's on like the tip of my tongue, but he's like, Mr. Stark, I don't want to go, or I don't feel so good, right? Something like that. Yeah, so man, that hit me in my feels that moment. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But Tom exists in a wider universe, and it's something different with Tom's Spidey, whereas Andrew is more Spider-Man centric. And there's something about that speaks to me. And then I'm also someone that I liked Andrew's first suit that everybody doesn't like. The one with the big bug eyes, I think it was, and like the yellowish lenses, and the suit was different. And a lot of people didn't like that. I dug that. And if I was ever gonna, I probably won't cosplay this version of Spider-Man, but if I was ever gonna cosplay a regular Spider-Man outside of Last Stand, it would probably be Andrew's. I really, that one speaks to me. I want to talk to you a little bit more about some of your stuff. I want to get into a little bit of a DC stuff and everything. But before we do that, let's break up the monotony and let's get into this week's Cosplay of the Week. Oh, and this week's Cosplay of the Week is none other than Asylum Harley. And I'm throwing it up on the screen right about now. And that was my Joker-esque kind of laugh because she has a DC Marvel crossover with a venomized Harley, and this is amazing. And when I first met Asylum Harley, I guess you could say came across Asylum Harley, I came across her venomized Harley Quinn. I believe that was the first one that I saw. I think it was. I know it was Harley Quinn, but I think it was venomized Harley, because at least if it wasn't, it's a standout. That's for sure. And this is amazing. I dig everything about it. I like the like if you zoom up on it too, you can see the symbiote there, like on her face, and it's only like half of it, and then you could see it on the arm, and then the weapons, and still all the Harley with the smile and the lipstick, and then the hair and the makeup, and it's like it's a great crossover. I love people who do like fusion cosplays, mashup cosplays, and they just fit so well, and the kind of, how do I say, like the psychoticness, I guess you could say, of Harley mixed with like the chaos that a symbiote could be makes for a perfect crossover. Venomized Harley Quinn. This thing is absolutely amazing. And the photo is by NY Cosplayer, mentioned several times here. A perfect shot, dark, gritty, mixing that DC in there with the symbiote. It's just perfect. I love everything about it. And I want to throw up a second shot, and I'm throwing it up on the screen right about now. And this is of her Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice. And if you tune into the show, or even if you tune into my, you follow me on Instagram, my personal, you'll know that I'm a giant Beetlejuice fan. Huge Beetlejuice fan. And this is amazing. It's like, I guess you could say in a sense kind of, and I don't mean this in a bad way. There's been episodes in the past where, such as Capture Realms episode, where the episode was called Creative Simplicity, because sometimes you could take the most simplistic things and make something absolutely awesome out of them. And in comparison to like something like her Venomized Harley, where there's a lot more going on, this is a little bit more, you could say, simplistic. But I don't mean it in a bad way, because it's absolutely amazing. She embodies the character, the facial expressions as well, when you're rocking and becoming a character that doesn't have a mask, that doesn't have anything else going on, and does rely on like your facial features or your facial expressions, and you nail it, such as she did with Lydia Dietz. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. She's got it down perfect. Towards the end of the first Beetlejuice movie is where this one comes in. I believe it was when she was getting married to Beetlejuice. I think that's this outfit. With the hair perfect, the makeup perfect, the facial expression perfect, even like the bags under her eyes, which, forgive me, I swear to God, if those are like real bags, like, and you're just tired that day and it's not makeup and I'm just sitting here complimenting on you on it, like, I feel bad. But it looks amazing with the handbook of the recently deceased hanging around your waist there. It's absolutely perfect. Dozen fingers underscore photography on the photo. And the caption says, "Though I know I should be wary, still I venture someplace scary. Ghostly hauntings I turn loose. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice." Absolutely phenomenal, man. Next time I'm in New York, we've got to figure something out. I don't know what you're going to be cosplaying. I don't know what you've retired, what you're not, working on anymore, what you're not shooting with anymore. But I would love to shoot something videography wise with your Lydia Dietz. Maybe we can go somewhere, find somewhere out in the city, not con related, that we can try to make our best, maybe nighttime, look like something out of Beetlejuice, or I know they have I think they have it in New York. I think they have the Beetlejuice restaurant or something. I think they have one in New York. Maybe we can ask them if we could shoot there. I've been to one before, not in New York, but I've been to another one. It was all right. The one I went to wasn't that great. Not gonna lie. But the one in New York I think it's in New York. It looks better if it's the one I'm thinking of. Maybe we can go there, ask them if we could, just give me 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Give me 10 minutes. Let me shoot something. This is phenomenal. Asylum Harley, you're absolutely awesome. And in case you're just tuning into this on Instagram as a clip and you didn't tune into the full episode on YouTube and or Spotify, we have guest this week, Amazon Daniela, previous cosplayer of the week herself, a published cosplayer in Creative Cosplays magazine. We're talking about her Spider-Verse cosplays, things that exist in Spider-Man universe. We're talking about DC cosplays, her voice acting, if we have the chance to get to it, and so much more. She is the guest this week, Amazon Daniela. Do you have anything that you'd like to add before we wrap up this segment about Asylum Harley's cosplays of the week?
Yes, I absolutely love her fusion. That looks like it was a lot of detailed work. I am very interested to hear, from her at some point, to see what was the mental process, the physical labor, all of it. And of course, Beetlejuice, we all love Beetlejuice. So that Lydia Dietz is amazing.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And just as Daniela said, love to hear more about it. Asylum Harley, this is my invite. I would love to have you on the show. I always give it a little bit of time between, when you get featured as the cosplay of the week and then, have you come on. So we'll make something happen soon. I invite you on. I'd love to have a conversation with you. You are absolutely awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not following Asylum Harley, spelled exactly how it sounds, please go do so on Instagram right about now, because Asylum Harley, your Venomized Harley Quinn and Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice Cosplay of the Week for me and Amazon Daniela is amazing. Like I said, Tyre is here. If this stays in the clip, Tyre, Paper Moon Cosplay, is here off to the side. She's not on camera. She's not mic'd up, but she's doing the whole amazing over into the corner here, and it just makes me laugh.
I mouthed it on camera, just an FYI.
Did you? I wasn't looking. I was looking directly. Amazing. Like I said, I want to talk to you a little bit about some DC stuff and get to talk to you about a little bit more. But before we do that, I want to get into a segment that I like to call Shotgun Questions. And what Shotgun Questions is a little bit more of a rapid fire segment that never ends up being that rapid fire. We always end up having a conversation about it. That's the irony of it. And that's okay. It's a series of 3 to 4 questions depending on time, which I don't know why I say that, because it usually always ends up just being 3. And it's all fun and games. It's nothing serious. I don't prep the guests for it ahead of time. We go in blind. But if you watch the show, you can probably guess some of the questions that may be asked to you. Let's see how much fun we can have when I ask you. Detailed logistics aside, you have to build a team of 6 characters to fight off a threat on Earth. This could be a team comprised of superheroes or villains across the Marvel Universe, DC, any other comic-based company. This could be a mix of, gaming characters or any other forms of pop culture. Basically anything you want. You have to build a team of 6 characters to fight off a threat on Earth. Who are your 6?
Hold on, let's see. First and foremost, for sure, if we're talking universe size, team, for sure I need a Green Lantern in there. So I'm going to get my girl Jessica Cruz in there.
Nice.
Feel like we need some villains in there.
Yeah.
From different universes. So I want to say Apocalypse.
Nice. I don't think anybody's ever chosen Apocalypse.
I want to say Apocalypse.
That is a great one.
I need the Phoenix Force on board. I need her on there. Nice. And so what's that, 3?
It's a good mix, dude. Phoenix alone.
I feel like we need some magic in there. So Mary Marvel.
Nice. Okay.
Not Shazam. We need Mary Marvel.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Let's see. And then from a whole different other universe, I don't know. I feel going back to DC, because I'm a huge DC fan. I really want Superwoman from the Crime Syndicate in there.
Okay.
Homegirl is ruthless.
Yes.
We take no prisoners.
Yeah.
She's in there.
I like
what's
it.
that, 5?
I like it.
Is that
5? One more. Yeah, one more. You got one more.
I feel like I need another omnipotent type of entity.
She said I would take another man.
Does she know who I am?
She said you have so many females. You should have another man.
This is absolutely, she's lucky I don't throw Star Sapphire up in there. Let's see.
It's funny.
We need a really good warrior, someone who is boots on the ground.
Nice. Okay.
Who else but Wonder Woman?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, Wonder Woman. That's where I thought you were going with it. That's a team, though, man. That is a powerful team, dude. That is good. I like that a lot. That's a great mix. I got another one for you. Next question. Out of these Batmen, you've got Keaton, Bale, Affleck, Pattinson. You can only choose one, and the rest and their universe cease to exist. Who do you pick?
I'm just going to have to go with Affleck.
Nice. Yes.
I'm
biased because that's my favorite. Yeah, that's what I would go with. Yeah.
You know, I mean.
Tyre just let out a big sigh. You would go with Bale. You picked Bale, right? Yeah, she picked Bale. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Last question. If you could time travel to any time period, any era, where would you go and why? And you can have up to 3 different choices, 3 different places. Where would you go?
Where would I go? Okay.
It could be past, future, anything.
I would like to go back into the past, and I would like to go to the Mayan time of history.
Yeah,
I feel like we're still learning so much about the culture. They were so advanced, and their way of living, and their like everything that they did, and you know the ruins themselves are beautiful. So. Yes. Personally, I do have an interest in a little bit of history myself. I'm kind of growing up, which is kind of what got me into Wonder Woman a lot with her Greek background and you know Greek mythology and all that stuff. So I would want to go back to the Mayan times. I think that's like BC and all that stuff. I'd love to time travel back there.
Nice. You can have 2 more if you got 2 more on your mind.
Oh, 2 more? Let's see. I would also like to go. I'd like to go back, not too far back, but to the 90s.
Yes.
I think the 90s were a beautiful time. I was born in 94, so I only got to experience half of the 90s. But I think leading up to the 90s, especially because I used to have a large interest in modeling. And I think modeling back in the 90s was at its peak. It was so effortless. It was so beautiful. Yeah, it comes with some controversy about, you know, body positivity and all that stuff. But if you look at the time, the fashions, the models themselves, all the icons that came from then, I think the 90s would be beautiful. And then if I want to get to the future, in the words of the Joker, I was promised a flying car from the Wayne Industries. Where are our flying cars?
Serious. How far in the future would you go? How many years?
I don't want to go too forward because the way climate change is going. So let's say like somewhere around like 2000. Why do I want to say 2099?
Okay. Oh, the year 2099. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why. Just a good random number.
Out. Yeah. No, that's cool. I dig that. Well, that was shotgun questions. Those are interesting choices. I really dig it. Let's keep things going. When it comes to the DC side of things for you within cosplay, some of my favorites of yours are your shots as Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, as well as your Dark Mary Marvel from Shazam. That Green Lantern shot by Jeffrey Photog is just gorgeous. From you yourself, the photo itself, to the location with the green building behind you, complimenting the fact that you're a Green Lantern. It's all so fitting. I believe I chose that one as the cosplay of the week when I made you a cosplay of the week. Then you as Dark Mary Marvel, you rock the ever-living out of Dark Mary Marvel. It's absolutely amazing. And the photos are by, I just bought a Canon, and they are greatly done, complimentary as well. That's something that is a theme with you, with all of the photographers that you work with. You guys seem to have a great relationship as far as, complimenting each other from what you're wearing to the photos that come out at the end product. It just all seems to really link up together. From Green Lantern to Mary Marvel, from Wonder Woman to Supergirl. You seem to cosplay more characters that have been labeled as heroes as opposed to maybe villains or anti-heroes, aside from maybe certain aspects of Dark Mary Marvel. And then even within your Marvel Comics cosplays, the majority, I believe, are more so heroes. Is there a reasoning behind that, or is that just the way that it panned out? And then a follow-up question, furthermore, what's your process behind deciding on what characters to cosplay, which you kind of did mention it before, but I'll still ask again. Do you know the characters beforehand? Have you had a situation where you saw a character and liked them, which again, you kind of answered earlier in the episode, and you thought to cosplay them and then learned more about them because so? How does that all work out for you regularly?
As far as your first question, it just happens to kind of be that way where I pick out more heroes. I think, just from a comic book standpoint, you see all the comic books of heroes predominantly over the villains.
Right.
And so it just happens to be that's, what I see first. I will say that, when it comes to choosing my characters or choosing to cosplay them, I like to deep dive into their stories first, because the characters that I do, I get enamored by their stories. Their origin story, or even just something, that maybe stands out, kind of like Dark Mary. That's not her origin story. That's not even close. But I absolutely loved that segment of her history. Yeah. And so for me, it just happens to fall where they all are mostly heroes. And then as far as your second question goes, my process, I would definitely say, again, it's a mixed bag, but it usually starts visual and then it kind of goes on from there. Nice. And with Jessica Cruz, I feel like these days now she's getting a little bit more love with upcoming projects, like Adventures with Green Lantern. I think it was called, that is coming out in the new DC universe.
Is she gonna be in the James Gunn universe? Did he announce anything? He didn't, right? It's Guy Gardner for Superman. He's gonna be in Superman, and then he's gonna be in
Superman.
And then who is it for the series?
For the series,
what? The love of Tyre said the love of your life.
My life. Yeah, it's Aaron Pierre as Jon Stewart.
Yes, yeah. And so it's going to be that for the series as well. I could have swore I saw something about Jessica Cruz, but maybe I'm mixing it up and it was probably like a fan casting or something. I don't know.
She's in the animated. She's going to be the protagonist of the animated show for the DC animated universe. So she will be the main character for that one.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put her in James Gunn's DC universe, because he does stuff like that, where
I really hope so.
I hope so too. I think it's something that's necessary for the Green Lanterns for so many different reasons. I feel like James Gunn also, he has a knack for handling groups of characters, right? That's like everything he does. The Guardians of the Galaxy and everything else that he's doing. He did Creature Commandos, which I still haven't watched for the animated one. But he handles groups of characters, and I know he wants to focus on introducing Guy Gardner and then the Green Lantern series. But I mean, the Green Lanterns as a whole are also, it's plural, Green Lanterns. So I feel like it would be very fitting, I guess is a better word, for James Gunn to at least showcase that other lanterns exist throughout the duration. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there because I'd like to see her as well. I think it'd be a great mix. Yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. I mean, from the Latino representation of her background to her origin story, which is why I fell in love with the Jessica Cruz character, which is why I cosplay her so much, because I always feel very connected to her. Yeah. And then of course, kind of going back to the question of my process of, picking out characters. Yeah. I mean, it's truly just a mixed bag, but ultimately it starts out visual and then I go into, okay, let me check this character out.
Speaking of mixed bags, you have a good mixture of cosplays that exist within, the Marvel universe, that exist within DC as well, alongside outside of the two comic franchises, Spider cosplays like we've spoken about, X-Men cosplays, Wonder Woman variations, Shazam existing variations, Power Rangers, horror, gaming, and more. But when it comes to the comic renditions, like I said, you have a solid mix between the two, the big dogs, Marvel and DC. as a fan, you yourself, is there a company that speaks to you more, whether it be from a comic standpoint, a film standpoint, or simply just something that you even prefer, just from cosplay? Do you have a side that you lean to more, and why, if so?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you could tell in the background, but
Yeah.
DC for sure. DC is. I think even growing up, DC spoke to me just a little bit more, just because of the characters. But kind of growing up, and then I'm into comics more now than I was when I was younger, and getting into comic stories and background stories of characters. I'm like, you cannot beat this. I love the realism that there is.
Yeah.
With the characters, you can really connect with them. Of course, you can connect with some Marvel characters as well. But for me in particular, I love that, like, kind of going back for Jessica Cruz, like, for instance, she struggled with anxiety. That's something that we all struggle with, right? But for her, it was crushing anxiety, and the fact that she became a Green Lantern, and it was through her willpower, which ultimately crushed her anxiety issues. It's very, I can really connect with that on just that deep level. And I've actually used some of those character stories in real life scenarios where I do a lot of public speaking at work, and a lot of presentations, and that anxiety you get right before you speak. I've gone back and I think, okay, willpower. You just got to get through it, start it, and then boom, it's easy. So it's very, very easy to connect with the characters there for me. So, and of course, who doesn't love a dark, gritty, type of theme? I love that.
Yeah. 100%. I gotta agree too. Which is weird because for me, it's kind of the opposite. I grew up more with Marvel. X-Men was my first dive into anything superhero related. Believe it or not, it was my father introduced me to the X-Men comics. My dad was a big comic head. Of course, like Batman was always thrown in there. Superman was always kind of thrown in there. As a kid growing up, those are kind of your staples. You're always interested in it. Most of us, at least, growing up, interested in Batman, Superman, and then. But for me, it was always the X-Men first, and then it was Spider-Man, and then I think you would say Batman and Superman for me. And then later, I actually never really fell that in love with Superman. Actually, it was always, to me, I kind of always looked at it like he was just too overpowered for me. The things that I liked growing up, I was more interested in, like, for instance, the X-Men, right? I think that is actually one of the best Marvel groups, stories as a whole. The mutants, you've got, what they're going through when people, didn't like them and they were against them because they're mutants. And then you've got the story of Magneto and him and his childhood. And it's like, it's more, I guess, it has that realism to it as well. And I guess some may say even like political aspect to it that you can tie in to reality. And even as a kid, for some reason, I just connected to that, aside from the fact that I just liked Wolverine and the claws and like just the way he was. Like I was just attracted to that. But then as I got older, DC started speaking to me more. I don't know exactly what age or anything, but as I got older, as a kid, little kid, I was enamored by Marvel. But then as I got older, that darker and that grittiness that we always talk about here is a common theme on the show with everybody and at live panels, is that dark and gritty that DC has. And that really started speaking to me. That's when I was like, oh man, Batman. And it wasn't even actually, as people could probably tell with the cosplays that I choose to cosplay as, I love Batman. Don't get me wrong. I mean, who doesn't, right? But I actually kind of I like the stories that exist within the Batman universe almost even more. Like I like the Joker. I like Harley. I like Black Mask. I like Clayface. Like I know they all happen to be villains, but not always just villains. I love Red Hood. I love Red Hood too, which is kind of like an anti-hero. And then Nightwing. It's like, I don't know. I've always loved Batman, but there's other aspects of the Batverse that speak to me even more. And then just the way that Gotham is, the city of Gotham is like a character in itself. And those things always spoke out to me and connected with me as well. And then I'm a big fan of like magic and like aliens and stuff like that. So like Constantine speaks to me. Zatanna speaks to me. Like all that kind of stuff speaks to me as well. And then Martian Manhunter. Those were like my favorites. I tend to branch out from the norms of just Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Captain America, like the basics. And there's nothing wrong with liking those either. I'm just simply stating the things that spoke to me the most. And I relate to you on the dark and gritty aspects of DC. everyone has a story. Before we get ready to wrap up here, we're getting a little bit close. Everyone has a story on how they got into cosplay in the first place. And what's yours?
So I think it started in 2022.
Okay. Nice.
That's when I first got into cosplay. And I already knew about cosplay, but I didn't realize how big the cosplay world was. I thought I'd be just like the one-off weirdo in a costume, you know?
Yeah.
And and I saw an ad for Fan Expo Dallas.
Nice.
And I said, you know what? I just moved to Dallas. I don't know anybody. I moved up here by myself, and I want to do whatever I want to do. If there was a time to do it, it's now. So I actually, my very first cosplay, which there aren't very many pictures of, and I don't think none at all on my Instagram page, was Donna Troy.
Oh, nice.
Wonder Girl.
Nice.
She was my very first cosplay. Yeah. I just went to like a store and I bought like a similar looking jumpsuit. And then I got into EVA, did some research. I was like, okay, EVA might be the way to go. And I cut out some stars and put them on the sides, and I made my little gauntlets and boots, and I was ready to go. I actually already had a Wonder Woman lasso, so I just kind of threw that on there.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I walked into Fan Expo for just one day, just one day. And I remember going through security, and the lady looked at me, the security lady. She was like, wow, you do look like a wrestler. And I was like,
oh, no.
Wait a minute. What did you say to me? It was wild. I was so offended. But then I was like, as long as she thinks I'm somebody else and not me, I'm cool.
And it came from a good place. She's trying to compliment you. She didn't know. Yeah. That's funny.
Right. And so, I walk in and it's just this like huge world, and everybody's in cosplay. And I only took a few moments in, and I started hearing somebody in the back say, Donna. And I was just like, are you talking to me? And I looked back there like, can I get a picture? And I was like, yeah. And mind you, all of this is very foreign to me. So I'm just throwing myself in there. I was hooked after that first day. I said, you know what? I'm going to make this my personality.
Yeah, 100%. So you said 2022 was the start. When did you like first start like really like diving into it? It was after Fan Expo. You were like, I'm hooked. Let's go full fledged.
I kind of did that one-off type of deal, and then I kind of just put it off to the side. I needed to concentrate on work for a while, and then the next year came around, which was 23. I said, in order for me to really be part of the community, I think I have to start locally first. I want to make local friends. I want to meet the people in the community. So I ended up going to one of our local cons that for a lot of us now, it kind of starts off our cosplay season. And I walked in, I knew nobody. I was in Poison Ivy, which again, these pictures do not exist in the public eye, not yet anyways. Maybe I'll do a throwback Thursday one day and be like, this is how it all started. And I just knew that I wanted to be the character. I absolutely loved everybody else was in character. And on top of people asking to take pictures with you, you really have a sense of belonging. It was just addictive. You wanted more of it. Yeah. After that particular one, I said, okay, full on, this is what I'm going to do. I want to learn how to sew. I want to learn how to, craft armor. I want to know more. And that is a part of cosplay that I think a lot of people don't really, highlight as much of. We all love, getting into cosplay, but how many of us truly love just the art of knowing how to sew, the art of learning how to foam smith, and just going through those learning curves of having those skill sets. And then also just on their own, knowing that if I really wanted to, I could, walk over to my sewing machine and make myself, a shirt for work or something, even apart from cosplay. So cosplay has allowed me to make a lot of friends, be part of a great creative community, but it's also inspired me to get into other things, other hobbies. So
Yeah.
it's been amazing.
Yeah, those are skills that not everybody has. The things that you were talking about, Phone-Smith, and the crafting aspect of it, because I'm one of them. You know, what I mean, I don't have those skills. It's just not. It's just I just don't have it with these hands. But that's a whole other aspect of the cosplay community that is so appreciated. And I kind of, it kind of made me, talking with you about this in this way, kind of made me think right now as you were talking too, like the reasons that. Some of the reasons that I got into this community in the first place was to highlight all the amazingness and the awesomeness genuinely. Aside from that, for me, of course, because someone's out there is probably going to say, well, how do you benefit? I just love doing this. Like I love tech. I love, videography. I love talking. I love hosting. I love podcasting. That's what I get out of it too, is communicating with everybody. But one of the reasons was to highlight everybody and all the amazingness that we all see. And then when I was welcomed into this community, it's kind of, even though it wasn't for me cosplaying specifically, but for rather, different reasonings, but still a part of the community, that belonging that you talked about, after all of these years, not even just in the community, but just in life, belonging in different groups or things that you want to do growing up that you want to be a part of, jobs, careers, whatever it may be. It wasn't until this where I was like, man, I really feel like I belong here. You know what I mean? Like everybody else has all these similar interests that I do, like I didn't realize, like you said, how big this community truly was and how awesome this community can be. And lastly, talking with you about this also made me realize, I was thinking and I was like, man, I think there is a lot of us out there right now that I think we've, and I say we loosely and lightly, but have lost our way, that this is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be a happy place. This is supposed to be an escapism. This is supposed to be something that we can uplift each other with and communicate with each other with and for, and be by each other's side and appreciate one another, support one another, and be here because we all love these geeky things, these nerdy things. Or maybe it's getting hands-on crafting and being a part of something together that we can all appreciate. And it just, for some reason, with everything you were saying and the way that you were saying it, I felt the passion there, and it made me think, like, I think these last couple years, the community has lost its way in remembering why we all are a part of this, So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I feel like I got a little bit of that genuine happiness when I first got into it. And now being in it, a few years later, you hear about politics and money and all of these shallow things that, distance you from the core of the community and why it even exists in the first place. And, hopefully one day we can get back to that genuine happiness of, let's just all be happy for each other because we are big nerds that love doing all of these different little things and dressing up as our favorite characters. And that's, again, one of the reasons why I'll probably continue doing cosplay for a while. I just want to continue, as some people have made positive experiences for me. I want to continue that going and make a positive experience for somebody else who may just be joining the community, or maybe for somebody who has already been in it and they just, are needing a positive experience.
An uplift.
So,
Yeah, 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get out of here. Daniela, thank you so much for being here. This was awesome to finally get it done. This is a long time coming. I didn't say it earlier in the episode, but this is a long time coming. Ladies and gentlemen, please go follow Amazon Daniela, spelled exactly how it sounds, Amazon.Daniela on Instagram. If you're not, like I said, Daniela, thank you for coming. I can't wait for later this year. We get to finally shoot some stuff. Hopefully it's multiple cosplays of yours, because I can't wait. Amazon.Daniela on Instagram. Please go follow her. And for everybody tuning in right now, thank you for watching, for liking, for commenting, for sharing, for doing all of those beautiful things that you do over on youtube.com/Side Projekt Podcast. When you go down, you hit that big red subscribe button, and when you do, it goes, and you get 100 sexy Projekt points. Thank you for listening and watching on Spotify, as videos are available on Spotify as well. When you follow and you rate, you do all the things that you do, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Instagram at IG Hates Chazzy. That is my personal. And if you're looking for the podcast as a whole, you can find it on Instagram at Side Projekt Podcast. Remember, that's Project with a K. For me, for Daniela, for the Side Projekt merch store, available on sideprojectpodcast.com. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't drink this one. It's full. Got to be careful. We are out of here.